Killer Mike, Danny Glover, and Senator Bernard Sanders will be traveling down to Bessemer, Alabama tomorrow to meet with Amazon workers who are fighting to unionize.
That's right. Sanders' visit to Alabama comes days before Amazon workers in Bessemer will vote on whether to join the Retail, Wholesale, and Department Store Union. That union's president, Stuart Applebaum, he joins us now to discuss that vote. It's very good to see you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be with you.
Absolutely. So, Stuart, can you just go into what this vote means, the efforts that you and your union have been putting in terms of organization, and some of the pushback that you've received from Amazon?
Absolutely. This campaign has captured a moment. A lot of things have come together, including concerns about skyrocketing levels of inequality in our society, which have been exacerbated by the pandemic, and which are personified by the staggering personal wealth of Jeff Bezos. At the same time, you have the public's concern about the overbearing power of big tech corporations in general and the influence of Amazon in particular, about the ongoing denial of racial justice in the United States, including at the workplace, about the failure of corporate America to prioritize the health and safety of its workers, especially during a pandemic, and about the lack of dignity and respect and just treatment that too many Americans experience at work. I think this campaign transcends this one location, this one warehouse, and even Amazon itself. It's about the future of work and how workers are going to be treated in our society. Mm-hmm. I would also note that the company is doing everything it possibly can to deny workers a voice. And that's really unfortunate. We've been amazed by the tactics Amazon has resorted to. They have bombarded workers with anti-union propaganda throughout the warehouse, banners, posters, and signs, including in bathroom stalls placed at eye level if you're sitting on a toilet. Captive audience meetings, people being forced into one-on-one conversations with managers, an anti-union website, and lie after lie after lie. Let me give you one example, if I could.
Sure.
Because
Please.
I think this is really remarkable. Amazon is a right-to-work state, which means nobody ever has to pay a penny of dues unless they choose to, even if there's a union at the workplace. Amazon is telling workers they have to vote against the union because it will cost them money, which they can save. Nobody ever has to pay a penny.
Right.
Amazon has done other things as well.
We covered here the lengths they went to even to change the cycle of the stoplight so that union organizers couldn't talk to workers while they're sitting at the stoplight. So we know they've been going to extraordinary lengths. You described this, and we...
One more thing.
Sure.
Good. And that is that they actually told people that they needed to vote by March 1st. The deadline is March 29th. People were confused. They thought they needed to get their ballots in by March 1st because they wanted people to vote before they had the opportunity to engage with the union and to hear the arguments the union has been making.
Classic voter suppression and union busting tactics. I like the way you described this fight as transcending this particular warehouse and even transcending Amazon and being about the future of work and the future of labor. How do the workers see themselves? I read an interview with one of the lead organizers who was talking about, just like you were saying, just wanting basic dignity on the job, people getting fired for just having to use the restroom and having too much time off task. These really just basic day-to-day indignities that they're suffering through and feel like they have no voice in order to push back against. So do they see themselves in this sort of broader struggle, or are they more focused on those day-to-day indignities that have them treated really as, frankly, less than human beings in their own workplace?
At its core, this campaign is about Alabama workers looking to get a say in their own workplace, which happens to be an Amazon warehouse, but they also understand the broader significance. And this really is about the future of work and how workers are going to be treated. People complain over and over again that they feel like they're being treated as robots by robots. You talk about how people could be fired. They'll be fired by a text message on their cell phone. It's the Amazon's model is dehumanizing and mistreating its employees, a terrible health and safety record. And that's the sort of thing that workers are really standing up against.
One of the things, Stuart, that's really interesting is that Amazon today is picking some pretty major public fights. Let's put some of these up there on the screen from Congressman Mark Pocan, who's been highlighting some of the conditions there. This was an Amazon, I believe he's a major Amazon executive, saying we welcome Bernie Sanders to Birmingham and appreciate his path. But that's not quite right because we actually deliver a progressive workplace. Let's continue to put up some of these tweets there where, Congressman Pocan said paying $15 an hour doesn't make you a progressive workplace when you union bus and make workers urinate in bottles. They responded, and let's put this up there, you don't really believe the peeing in bottles thing, do you? If that were true, nobody would work for us. The truth is we have 1 million incredible employees around the world and are proud of what they do. We have great wages in healthcare. So, Stuart, Amazon portraying itself there as more progressive even than Vermont in terms of what they pay people and they give people health care. What do you make of this?
It's so outrageous. It's nonsense. And it demonstrates how tone deaf Amazon is about what their own employees feel and think. It's really outrageous. What Amazon is saying is if we give people a $15 wage, that gives us license to treat them any way we want to disregard their health and safety, to dehumanize them. And if it were true that it was such a progressive workplace, why is it that Amazon has such an extraordinarily high turnover rate? Over 100% a year at Amazon facilities. People are saying this is not a progressive workplace. They are saying we can't take it no matter how much you pay us. And let me also point out about the pay that what Amazon pays is less than the median wage in Alabama. It's less than what workers get at other warehouses represented by the RWDSU in Alabama. Amazon is lowering the median wage in Alabama. They're trying to hide behind a fig leaf of what they pay when the workers do not care how much they're paid if their bodies are going to be destroyed and if their mental health is going to suffer. And we know that's the case. Outrageous, tone deaf.
And sir, have you seen outreach from other workers across the country who've been watching this fight, who are now interested in organizing their workspaces, whether it's Amazon warehouse or other shop floors?
It's been amazing. We've heard from so many people, more people than we ever have before. There is a moment out there. This can be a movement. For Amazon, over 1,000 workers have already reached out to us wanting to have a union in their own workplace. And workers from so many other countries, companies all over this country and even around the world have reached out to us wanting to find out how they could get a union. I have to tell you, this campaign is already a victory even before the votes are counted. I mean, we've highlighted the importance of unions, and it's resonating with people. We've described what the unionization process is, and we've also exposed what it is that employers do to try to crush their workforce from having a voice and from unionizing.
Yeah.
It's inspired people in so many places, and you see actions sprouting up all over the country right now in solidarity with the workers in Bessemer.
It's incredibly encouraging. I mean, we're very pro-union on this show, but we also want to be realistic with people that when workers go to organize, the current landscape is very hostile to them. I mean, corporations get away with all kinds of illegal bullying and intimidation tactics in the regular course of business now. What are your hopes right now? How are you feeling about how the drive is going in Alabama? And then also, if you could talk a little bit about the ProAct and how that would make it a lot easier to organize your workplace and for unions to then have a say and have a voice and have power within our labor market.
Well, let me tell you how it's going in Alabama. Right now, it's clear that the overwhelming majority of the workers at the warehouse in Bessemer support the union. We've had the opportunity to make our case. People have understood it, and they support us. The issue, though, is that people have been voting for 7 weeks. And people who voted early, after the captive audience meetings, before they had the opportunity to engage with the union, were more likely to support Amazon. People who voted later in the process understood what's at stake and have been supporting the union. Dozens of people have come to us asking if there were any way to change their vote now that they understand. Unfortunately, they can't. I think this campaign is the greatest example for why we need reform of labor law, why we need the ProAct in the United States. People forget that the policy of the United States, as enunciated in the Wagner Act, which was the legislation that provided for union elections, is that this country supports collective bargaining and unionization. That is the policy of the United States. But in terms of the way the current law is used, you'd never be able to tell that. It is so unfair. I talked to you about all the things that Amazon is doing to crush people's hopes of a union. And at the same time, the union doesn't even have access to the workplace. We're not even allowed on the parking lot. Amazon should stop their intimidation. They should stop their interference. This is a question for the worker. Do they want a union or not? And the ProAct would address a lot of these problems. The ProAct would outlaw these mandatory captive audience meetings where people are lectured for an hour at a time, multiple times a week, with lies about why unions are bad and why they should vote no against the union. It would change the process so workers would not have to worry about what it is the employer is doing or saying. They do not have to fear for their jobs if there is labor law reform in this country. I'm a big supporter of the ProAct.
We really appreciate you joining us, sir, and all the knowledge you were able to impart to us. Thanks very much.
Come back and give us an update, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and stay safe.
You do the same.
Thank you.
More Rising for you after this.